distribution of wealth on planet Earth. You got maybe the 1% holding the vast majority of assets, mainly because they invented the system and they stole it. And now they've hidden it away in Antigua and the Bahamas and all these shell corporations that are holding their electronic wealth and their physical assets and their titles to assets. To me, I always believed with the Road to Ruta stuff that the creative destruction event would take care of that problem. Instead of, like people say, oh, we'll just revalue the dollar, or we'll revalue it according to the Iraqi dinar, or we'll revalue according to gold, we'll change the price of gold and everything will be fine. To me, it was always, well, the same percentage is allocated to these 1%, so nothing really changes. I mean, you can have it, a global revaluation keeps everything the same and just gives it a different, lops off a zero or anything like that. So how is that?
So what's the point? Yeah.
Exactly.
And it doesn't actually work that way. Okay, there's never been such a situation in history. All right, we've had revaluations of currency in isolation, like the Kuwaiti dinar. By the way, there will never be a revaluation of the Iraqi dinar. No. You need a functioning state to do that kind of thing.
I mean, the whole thing was ridiculous, and people literally bought in hook, line, and sinker to that.
Yeah, and see, there was the language around it. I mean, just the appealing to greed, the whole thing. Bush family made a fortune off that scam, and it's 100% bogus.
All right. So, as you guys see there, welcome back to Eyes Open Media. So, that was Cliff High and Big Weir talking about the reset, and also talking about the Iraqi dinar, saying that it is bogus, it is a scam. Now, remember, I've been hearing this since I was living in the Middle East. And guess what? The people in the Middle East just laugh at people in the Western world who believe the currency that they use on a daily basis is a scam. Now, I'm not saying that I'm not going at Big Weir and Cliff Eye, because to them it doesn't make sense. So, and if you don't know anything about it, if you've never lived in the Middle East, if you don't know what's going on in terms of fiat currency, because they're into cryptocurrencies, you wouldn't care. You don't care, okay? And George Bush set it up. But you know what George Bush also did? George Bush, Cliff High, he went to the United Nations and told the United Nations to shut off Iraq's purchasing power. So that means that Iraq did not lose purchasing power. It was shut off. So that means if you turn back on their purchasing power, then they get that purchasing power back. Okay, they turned it off so they wouldn't, so that the Iraqis and the enemies of the U.S. wouldn't be able to take their purchasing power, buy guns, and be able to kill the U.S. soldiers. Okay, and Cliff High said that there's never been a global reset. There's been, well, I don't know about being a global reset, but there's been world reserve currencies, right? So there's been different world reserve currencies, okay? And there's also been, there's been economic, there's been type of economic resets there where, the China was in power, then it shifts to another, then Egypt's in power, Iraq's in power, the Middle East is in power, then Europe's in power, then America's in power. So it does shift, though we do get those shifts of economic powers and economic wealth that does shift. So that does happen. Now, Cliff did say that there are revaluations of currencies do happen, Kuwait and everything like that. Now, revaluations happen every single day. We just seen, when a currency goes up 5%, that's a revaluation. Okay, so revaluations happen. Now, we're talking about the major revaluation, and he did bring up Kuwait. Okay, so Kuwait happened. Yes, that was it was a reinstatement, actually. So it wasn't really a revaluation. It was a reinstatement, right? So And then Germany reinstated. Okay, I mean revalued. They went through it. America did the same thing with Germany. We did the same thing to South Korea. Okay, where we go in and we basically destroy the place, rebuild it up, set a government there, and then put purchasing power toward the currency. This is not the first time America is doing it. We wanted to go into Iran and do the same thing, but Russia and China stopped us. Okay, so this is not nothing new. So I'm not sure how Cliff and Big Swear don't understand that. This is nothing new. We did it in South Korea. We did it in Japan. We did it in Germany. Okay, we went in there, we destroyed the place up, and then we built it up, and we set the governments, and then we give their purchasing power back. Okay, so this is nothing new. We were going to do it with Iran, but of course Putin and Russia stopped us at the last moment. Okay, and I still think that Iran is still going to come up in value significantly to where they are now. Their currency is worthless right now, but we believe that Iran will come into power in the future, and their currency will also come up to power before fiat currencies are wiped out, basically. Because at some point fiat currencies are just not going to be usable anymore, as everybody is going digital, and then people start taking the microchip and things like that. Okay, and of course using the gold and silver, and as that becomes more and more valuable. But they believe that this will never happen, and I've heard it from Forbes magazine saying that will never happen. We got so many people around the world saying it will never happen. I wonder what's going to happen when it does happen. I wonder what they're going to say, and what the world is going to say when it does happen, right? What will people say? Because are they going to apologize, or are they just going to say, you know what, I was wrong? Okay. I don't know. I don't know, but is their opinion? They can say that it will never happen. That's fine. Okay, but they need to go to that country, go to Iraq, go to the Middle East, and ask the citizens, and ask the money changers, ask the CBI, the central banks there, instead of what I'm saying, and instead of making opinions of a place that you've never been, right? Because when I was in the Middle East, it was sure thing that this thing was going to rise in value and get back on the international stage. That was a sure thing. No one said it was a scam. Okay, I went to the money exchange shops all the time, maybe twice a week, okay, to exchange and stuff. And I was talking to these guys, and none of them said it was a scam. None of them thought that, oh my God, we're never going to revalue. Matter of fact, while I was there, the purchasing power was I think it was like 1 million for every, like 250 bucks for 1 million, something like that. 220, 218, 250 for 1 million IQD, and then it kept going up and up and up. Guess what that's called, Big Swear and Cliff Eye? It's called a revaluation. Okay, every year it kept going up until 2010. Now, what happened in 2010 to stop the price from going up? The United States flooded U.S. dollars into the Iraqi central bank to stabilize and keep the price at 1166. Now, what if the U.S. never had done that? The price would have continued to go up and up and up. Why? Because it was supply versus demand. There was demand for the IQD. That's why it kept going up. So for people to say that IQD will never revalue, it's already revalued many times. It came out at 4,000 to 1. Okay, back in 2003, 2004, it came out at 4,000 to 1. We're sitting here at 1190. Is that not a revaluation? So for them to say that that IQD has not revalued, that's a lie, because it's already revalued multiple times since 2003. How many other currencies around the world right now? Because basically 80 to 90% of all currencies around the world are down, 40, 50, 60, 70%, some even 90%, like Venezuela and Zimbabwe, right? But what about the IQD though? Why didn't they go back and look at the history of the IQD since 2003? The IQD is up tremendously since 2003, while many coins, 90% of currencies around the world, are down tremendously since 2003. And they're the ones that got invaded into. Okay? So just that alone should tell you that, Iraq has a chance to get back to its fair value. Because is Iraq at its fair value, Big Swear? Is Iraq at its fair value, Cliff Eye? No, it's not. Because it surrounds itself in the Middle East with other countries that are 100,000 times more than their value. Saudi Arabia, Kuwait sitting at $3 plus. You don't think Iraq has the same wealth as Kuwait with all that oil Iraq has? Okay, and assets and minerals. Okay, Saudi Arabia, it's got all these other countries right next. Turkey, okay, has a nice price on their currency. You don't think Iraq has more wealth than Turkey? Okay, all those Arabic countries have currencies and positive values, except for Iran, right? And most of them have their wealth, most of them have their currency values in positive values, except for Iran and Iraq. And maybe there's others in there that I can't remember that have come down, but most of them are sitting around between 5 cents to $3 range. You don't think Iraq is worth 5 cents to $3 range? Big Swear and Cliff High? Are you serious? You think Iraq is with all that oil they sit on, with all those minerals and stuff they sit on? Now, one thing Cliff High did say, he said that they don't have a stable government. Okay, and the government's been stable the last year and a half. They've been stable. Now, ever since they ever since they took ISIS out of the country, they've had a stable government. They've been passing laws. They've passed a bunch of laws. They've passed their budget. They've met with the IMF. They've met with the World Bank. They've met with the BIS. They've met with the United Nations. They've met with all these people. They're paying their debts. They're actually having a surplus again. So what do you mean, Cliff Eye, that they don't have a stable government? How can you not? If you don't have a stable government, then what are they doing, passing laws and gaining surpluses this year? Okay, so they don't have to deal with ISIS any longer. They cleared ISIS, a majority, 99.9% of it, out of their country. They just did an election. If you don't have a stable government, then you wouldn't be able to hold elections. They just announced a new prime minister. So what do you mean that Iraq doesn't have a stable government? They're passing laws. They have a surplus. They're passing their budgets, and they're meeting with the international world. And the international world says that they're doing a great job. Their central bank governor just got Central Bank Governor of the Year for 2018. What do you mean, Cliff Eye, that they don't have a stable government? Okay, so that's just wrong information there from Cliff. I love Cliff Eye and the data sets that he used. But man, for this one, man, you have to go to the Middle East. Because if you don't go to the Middle East, you're just gonna go off of what mainstream media says. And I know Cliff High doesn't look at mainstream media, but he's just gonna go off of what his friends and family members say, what Forbes magazine says, and blah 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 blah. And everybody talks negative about Iraq until you go to the Middle East, and people will tell you in the Middle East that Iraq has wealth, Iraq is going to return, because when I was there, nobody said anything about a scam. Nobody said anything about scams until I got back into America is when they started talking about scams and things like that. So that's why. So it's just the westernized propaganda. It's not in the Middle East. The Middle East people don't think about anything. They don't call their own currency a scam. Matter of fact, if you said that the Iraqi dinar was a scam in their face, I mean, what do you think they would do to you, right? I mean, imagine me walking in an Arab or somebody else, a foreign, tells me that my U.S. dollar is a scam. Now, because I know about the U.S. dollar and I know about the elites, that they have a point. But if I didn't know that and I was just a regular joker and on the street, a regular dude or a regular whatever on the street walking, and somebody told me that my U.S. dollar was a scam, I would go the crap off, right? But because who I am, and I know what's on that U.S. dollar, and I know what it's used for around the world, I would agree with them, but that's me now. But if I was just a regular person walking around like an irregular Iraqi in the world, walking around, and you called my currency a scam, that is a slap in my face. Okay, I'm going to protect my country. All right. So I'm not, Big Swear, Cliff High have their opinion that the Iraqi dinar is a scam. That's their opinion, and that's fine. They haven't been to Iraq, I'm pretty sure. They haven't been, maybe they've been to the Middle East once or twice, but I'm guaranteeing they haven't been to the money exchangers. They haven't been to the exchanges. They haven't been to the central bank. They haven't contacted the central bank, okay? And they haven't seen the policies of the central bank, and they haven't seen the policies of the central bank governor, a la keywords, because that man came in as a puppet of Maliki, and he has turned himself into the central bank governor of the year. Okay, defying Maliki, defying all of the corruption, and putting the central bank and the banking system of Iraq into an international banking system. Okay, these last 2 years. And he has followed the patterns and the policies of the IMF, and he just shut off Iran for the sanction stuff to comply with the United States of America. Does that sound like a torn up, broken country to you? Okay, so and because they are functioning now as a government, does their currency belong at a tenth of a penny? While Yemen and all these, and Kuwait, Qatar, Pakistan, and all these other countries that don't even have not even an ounce of the wealth Iraq has underground, and in minerals and assets and loans and all that money they got back from all the corrupt government people and around the world from frozen accounts that they now have gotten back from Switzerland, Sweden, Europe, America, all of those funds that they now have back and they haven't even touched. Do you think that their currency should be a tenth of a penny, while everybody else around them, except for Iran, is about 5 cents, 15 cents, $1, $3, $2, 50 cents? Do you think Iraq should be at 0.008? Like, come on, okay? So I just wanted to make this video, guys and girls, to just show you this. They believe that it will never happen. They believe it's a scam, and just like so many people believe that, but they haven't. They don't know anything about Iraq. They don't know anything about Iraq. They don't know anything about. They don't know the people of Iraq. They don't know the economic reforms of Iraq. They don't know They don't even know what the latest of the government. They probably couldn't even tell you who the prime minister of Iraq is. They don't even know that they're passing laws in Iraq now. They just think of the Iraq that was in there where ISIS took over, and they were like, okay, that government's in shambles. They don't know the new Iraq, and that's why it's going to be a surprise to the world when this thing happens, because everybody is looking at Iraq as the country that ISIS invaded, America invaded, and is torn up. But they don't know the new Iraq. They don't know the new malls that are in Iraq, the new streets that are in Iraq. They only get the poor pictures, just like in Africa, when we only show Africa as a poor nation, continent, whatever you want to call Africa. They only show poor areas. They don't show the mansions in Africa. I be on Instagram, and these people in Africa be balling, man. But you'll never know that, because that's not what they show us in the Western world. They only show us the poverty in Africa and in the Middle East. They don't show the brand new streets, the brand new buildings. General Electric just made and what's the other company? SEMA just did some massive deals in there for electricity. They're wiring up. They got state-of-the-art new banking accounts, banking ATMs. All these things are in Iraq right now. They are going to reconstruct Iraq, rebuild Iraq in many areas, with many countries coming together to do that in the future. They're building a brand new state-of-the-art central bank soon. All these things are happening, but yet the Western world only sees it one way. And that's the problem with the Western world. We only get to see things one way until we leave the country. And when we leave the country, we are surprised, because the world is a different way than what the media and others are telling us, right? The world is so different than what we here in America see of the world, okay? And then the other side is when people come here into America and they see the rundown roads, the rundown buildings, the school closures, the broken bridges, they be like, "What? This is not what I saw on television." Okay, this is not what I saw in my brochure. America was looking really beautiful, and now I'm in America, and I got rednecks, I got homeless people here, I got all types of craziness and rundown buildings. What is this? This is not the America that I was supposed to come to see. You see how that works? You see how that's the opposite? We get to see the rest of the world as run down, don't leave America, and then when we leave America, the rest of the world is beautiful. It's a beautiful, unique place to be around and to see beautiful people around the world. And others see America as this, goddess, this beautiful goddess. And then when they come here, they see the rundown roads, the homeless, the poor, the closed buildings and things like that. It's the opposite for them than to us. That's why I keep telling you guys need to get out. You need to get out and you need to explore the world and see how the world is, because you've been told a lie. Okay? So, and that's the same thing for the Iraq investment. Many people have been told a lie, and wait till this thing does its thing. Wait till this thing makes a move. Okay, wait till the fair value comes back, because that's all we care about. We don't care about this revaluation of everybody becoming rich and all this other. That doesn't matter to me, because that's how they use it as a scam. That's how people can take it and say it's a scam because everybody's waiting to be rich. No, all you have to say is, Iraq is in the Middle East. Look at the currencies around Iraq, and you tell me, with the wealth Iraq has, with now the stable government Iraq has, all we need to see is a fair value of Iraq compared to their competitors in the Middle East. That's it. That's all you have to say. Because Iraq is sitting at 0.00, I think it's like 0.001 or 0.0008. Like, and the rest of their community, except for Iran, because Iran's under sanctions, Iraq's not under sanctions. Okay, but the rest of their community and the rest of their countries that are around them are at 5 cents positive values, 15 cents, 40 cents, and they don't even have surpluses. They don't even have the oil Iraq has. They don't even have the oil reserves Iraq have. They don't even have functioning government like Iraq has right now. They don't even have the central bank governor of the year. Okay? They don't have the world pouring in resources and getting ready to rebuild many areas in Iraq. They don't even have the water Iraq has. Okay? And you telling me that Iraq should stay at 0.0008 compared to others that are sitting there at 30 cents to the dollar? And they don't have nothing Iraq has? Not even a tenth? Nah. Okay, we're going to see Iraq's true value at some point in the future, just like we're going to see China's true value, just like we're going to see a lot of Zimbabwe's true value at some point. A lot of these countries are not showing their true value. South Korea, we need to see that true value. Okay, there's a lot of these countries are not showing their true values, and that's all we're looking for. We're not looking for an overnight get-rich-quick scheme. We're looking for countries to show their true values and back it with assets. Cliff High and Big Swear. That's what we're looking for. Okay? Yes, there's been people that tried to scam and try to do all that. Yes, they've done that. They tried to take advantage of people and do all that crazy stuff. We get it. But for Iraq itself, that's not Iraq. That is people in America that's doing that, okay? So you're comparing what people in America are doing, the scammers in America. You're comparing that to a country that literally breathes and die their currency. Okay, 24 hours. You're comparing what people in America do, and you're saying that these people in America did this, so that is Iraq. That's ridiculous. Okay, because if you go to Iraq, the citizens don't know anything of what Americans are doing with their currency inside there. Just like we don't know what's going on in Russia with our currency. We don't know what's going on in Germany with our currency. We don't know the evil that's going on in Syria or any place, Australia, with our currency. So how in the world would Iraqis know what Americans are doing with their currency inside of America? Okay, so I just wanted to get that out. I saw this, and it's just one after the other. People talking about something is a scam when real people, are using that product, that currency every single day to survive and live and pay their bills. Yet people in another side of the world is saying that that currency that they're using is a scam. Unbelievable. Okay, so that's it. Talk to you guys later. Like, subscribe, and share. Eyes open. Bye.